When people find out that you're running for office, the first question they have is usually, why? Now, I understand this question, it's fairly obvious. I'd like to think that the answer is pretty obvious and universal too. For me, it's quite simple. If you look at something and you see it's broken, and you care about that thing and you can help, you not only should, you have a moral obligation and a duty to try. Now, if you look at Congress right now, it is sclerotic, it's dysfunctional. There are people there who have served many terms, who do not represent their constituents. They do not do what is best for our country. Their entire priority is getting reelected and getting more money from big donors. So they're beholden to these people. They do things that benefit a tiny fraction of our population simply because these people give them money. And that is wrong. If you look at the Committee for Science, Space, and Technology, there are people on that think the Earth is 10,000 years old. There are people who are not so sure about evolution. There are people who think anthropogenic climate change is a myth. These are scientifically illiterate people. Now, it's bad enough when a general citizen, you or I, are scientifically illiterate, but when somebody is making massive decisions that affect hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars and our future as a country and as a planet and as a species, this is insane. That is tolerated is insane. So I look at that and I can do better, and I have to try. Another question people often have is, why you? Now this question, I'm a little less cool with, to be honest. And I'll tell you why. Now, to answer it directly, I have a PhD in physics. I have a master's in microbiology with emphasis on virology and immunology. Undergraduate degrees in mathematics and microbiology. I've been a professor. I've been a political activist. Knocked on doors, called for Bernie. Did the same for Hillary once he lost. I am an engaged citizen. I care. To me, all of that should frankly suffice. But independent of that, there's no requirement that you have anything other than that you meet a certain age, that you are a citizen, and that you meet certain residency. So you look at that and you've got to think, well, why are you adding these extra requirements to this? The one that I hear a lot that I really despise a little bit is, why aren't you going for state and local office first? Why just go directly to the federal level? And don't get me wrong, there are important things that can be done at every level. Personally, my mission is to get on that committee that I just mentioned, Science, Space, and Technology. There are not enough scientists there. I am a trained scientist. It is absolutely essential that people like me get on that committee and that people like me are involved in those decisions. But independent of that, our government is supposed to be run by the people and for the people. Now, this idea that you have to go pay your dues at the local level, go through this whole process, which essentially means that you have to be a career politician. You have to devote 5 to 10 years of your life before you can even think about running for Congress. That is insane. This is why we are where we are. It is forcing people, ultimately, to be the thing that we need the least. It is forcing people to not have a career, to be disconnected from normal people, from normal life experiences. And it's necessary. When you go to government, obviously you're specializing. You have to focus on what you're doing. You become isolated. This is part of why you should not be in Congress for 30 years. If you are, that is a problem. Because if you're in Congress for 30 years, even if you try to stay engaged, you're going to get disconnected. You need new blood. This is why incumbency should not mean automatically getting reelected. Now, I hear people talk about term limits all the time, and term limits are great, But the thing that's crazy to me is that they're not necessary. All it takes is for people who care, first of all, for people to care, but then once you care, vote for new people. If there's no new person running, or there's nobody running who meets some criteria that you can fill, run yourself. So when you say, why you? I say, why not? And not only why not me, why not somebody who works at McDonald's? Why not an engineer? Why not a doctor or a lawyer? Why not somebody who's a carpenter or a general contractor or a pipe fitter? We need a variety of people in Congress. We don't need just career politicians. We don't need just lawyers. It's important to have lawyers involved, obviously, because legislation, you're making laws. You need people who actually know how laws are written. You need people who know how laws work. And everybody, to some extent, can, but I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend that I can do so. Well, I guess technically I'm a doctor in a PhD sense, but not the, oh no, we need a doctor on a plane sense. I can't do surgery. I recognize that. I'm not a lawyer. I recognize that. But it's something that we can work around. And I'm not a career politician. And that is not something that we need to work around. So, thank you very much. That is all I had to say on that.